Good evening, Moon Princess here, and tonight is Valentine's edition of True Crime. So, disclaimer, if you do not like true crime, first off, then just don't watch this video. Second, if you don't like things that have violence and things that involve sexual violence that are very dark, just don't watch this video. Problem solved. Anyways, without further ado, let's get into the case. Mind you, this is going to be a very short video, but I thought it would be something interesting to do, so let's do it. Okay, so this case is 11 years old. It was a cold case for some time. It happened on Valentine's Day, of course. This was in 2007 in San Diego, California. And the case is about Jodine Serrin, 39 years old. She was the daughter of Art and Lois Sarin, and she was born November 21st, 1967, in Glendale, Los Angeles County, California. She has two brothers, Michael and Chuck Serrin, and she has several sisters, Nancy Chrysopoulos, Barbara Petchy, and Carol Kursick, and she has a whole host of nieces and nephews as well. She grew up in Walton Hills, Ohio, went to Bedford High School, graduating in 1986. She was high functioning, though she had some type of cognitive disability, and other sources claim that in addition to learning difficulties, she may have also had schizophrenia as well. While she did have her own apartment, she did rely on some assistance from her parents. So, no shame in that. She loved animals, enjoyed creating floral design, like the floral arrangements. She biked, kayaked, she liked to take walks on the beach. She had a white horse named Sam that she adored, and her cat Angel as well. She just loved her cat. She also enjoyed engaging in crafts as well. She did a lot of volunteering and giving back to the community. She would help elderly citizens, was something that she really loved doing. She was passionate. She was part of numerous organizations involving mental health concerns, like NAMI, National Alliance of Mental Illness, and she was also part of the Mariposa Club and Friends Clubhouse. She helped out at her church as well, and she was part of volunteer work at the San Diego Humane Society. So neighbors remember her as being a very sweet person, but very quiet, that she kept to herself, kind of shy and reserved. Her apartment, she lived on the ground floor. So she was also very close with her parents. They had a very strong, loving relationship. She had close relationships with both of them. So on February 14th, 2007, her parents had not heard from her and had grown concerned when she was not answering her phone. So normally they spoke with her throughout the day, but on this Valentine's Day, they had not heard from her. At some point, her mother began to have this gut feeling that something was off. So after they had their dinner and went to their movie, by around 10 p.m., her parents took the initiative to stop by her home. It was located on 1900 block of Swallow Lane condominium. They knocked on her door and received no response. They unlocked the home and went to let themselves in. It was deadbolted, blocking their path, and they noticed that all the lights were on in the house. So again, very odd. She's not answering the door. So they called out her name, and again, no response. Her father busts in there and he gains entry to the home. They reach her bedroom and they see something horrifying. But initially, they don't realize what is happening because they can't see everything. And it seems like they were not bashful, but like it was something private that you don't want to see. So maybe they weren't like really looking when they realized there was something sexual happening. There was some type of sexual relations happening between their daughter and a stranger. At first, they thought they were dealing with some man that she was seeing, that it was consensual, but of course they find out that this in this scenario was not the case. So they thought, sure, this person's probably taking advantage of my daughter, but that she was a willing participant, and that was just not the case. So this man was on top of her. He was partially clothed, and Jodine's father basically was like, some way communicated, you need to get dressed and leave my house, kind of thing. Or at least that's how it's described in the articles that I've read. So her parents like kind of step out, and they're like in the living room. They're like, we'll give them time to change and get out of Dodge, get out of here. Like I said, I don't think they got a very good look what was happening. So it was quite a shock when they waited a while and nobody came out. They were expecting their daughter to come out and talk to them, and that wasn't happening. So they re-entered the bedroom and, to their horror, found their daughter dead. So what they thought was consensual sex turned out to be the stuff of nightmares. So their daughter had been savagely killed, and the individual was having sex with her corpse. She had been dead for 4 hours at this point, and she was completely motionless, already cold. Her father had even attempted to resuscitate her, but it was too late. She'd been gone for a while. So Jodine was bludgeoned, raped, and strangled. Like I said, necrophilia was performed by the killer. When police arrived, they observed no indications of forced entry, no broken windows. They were unsure of the killer's points of entry and exit from the home. They weren't like 100% sure. Though some believed that he may have left through the front door. There was no robbery. Nothing was stolen from the house. Her cause of death was blunt force trauma to the head. While they did have his DNA, they received no hits on any state database. Police at the time believed that it was random, that it was not random. They believed it was not random, and that Jodine knew the person who killed her. So a neighbor, Samantha Raymond, told police that she observed a man running down a ridge nearby the complex around the time the murder occurred, though she was unable to get a good look at the man to see anything identifiable about him or give an adequate description, as he was running so fast she really couldn't see anything in his face or anything like that. Her father initially believed the man might be a man that Jodine knew through one of the organizations she was active in, but this individual that he was suspecting was later ruled out by the DNA. According to Jodine's parents, the killer was on the heavier side with a large stomach. He had a bedraggled appearance, and his height ranged somewhere between 5'8" and 6 feet tall. According to one investigator named Tony Johnston, they suspected the man was a recent friend to Jodine, or they had only just met. So, the case ends up being solved in 2018 through genetic genealogy. This is according to San Diego County DA and Carlsbad Police Department. So the genetic genealogy was utilized. It was a lab called Parabon Nano Labs, which is in Virginia, and they used a technique called snapshot DNA phenotyping. Now, this is not what allowed them to catch the killer, but it's pretty darn cool. So it allows them to take DNA from an unidentified person and predict their genetics and their appearance based off their phenotype. It's very cool. So they were able to produce a composite sketch of this suspect, and then they were able to release this to the public, offering a reward of $52,000. So the gentleman who ends up having been her killer was a homeless man who was living with family in the area. So she was murdered by David Mabrito. At the time, he was 38 years old. He ends up committing suicide in 2011, so 4 years after killing Jodine. He actually was a father and a husband, according to some sources. His son and his ex-wife ended up providing their DNA, and this is what allowed them to identify her killer. Through genetic genealogy, a relative's DNA is narrowed down to more of a focus, and this led them to focus in on Mabrito. And they were able to test his DNA against the sample from the crime scene. So Mabrito's DNA had actually been collected by Oceanside police during a traffic stop. This DNA was never entered into a police database, since not long after this incident, he ends up committing suicide. So, and again, his motives for his crimes are still unknown. And as he is dead, they may never be learned. So, a statement from the family of the victim. Jodine taught us all with her special challenges, perseverance, and love of nature. There was joy in her laughter, love in her heart, and faith in her soul. The Sarin family is forever grateful to the Carlsbad Police Department for their outstanding efforts in attaining justice through resolution of this tragic case. So basically just, they wanted to express their gratitude to the local police department for finding her killer and giving them this closure. So Jodine is buried at Mission San Luis Rey Cemetery in San Diego, California. Her memorial mass for family and friends to remember her took place February 22nd at 11 a.m. at St. Patrick's Church. So that's everything that I have for you on this case. I hope you found it interesting. I know it's a very sad case, but I'm at least glad they were able to figure out who his killer was and solve this cold case for the peace of mind of loved ones. So thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe if you are interested in more similar content, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video. Good night.